A History of the Army Rangers by Jesse Martins. The United States Army Rangers are an elite ground force unit who specialize in ground warfare. The U.S. Army Rangers have a long history dating back to the early 1700s. Benjamin Church is widely known as the father of American ranging and is credited with being the first captain of an Army Ranger unit. The early period. Birth. The earliest Ranger units were used during the colonial period and the beginnings of the Revolutionary War. During the Revolutionary War period, the Rangers were utilized in the frontier as scouts and guides. Their operation in the frontier was largely uninterrupted because the British units were unfamiliar with navigating the territory that the Rangers operated in. This advantage allowed the Rangers to operate as messengers in between colonial fortresses as well as give early warning about British raids. Towards the end of the war, the Rangers were commissioned by General Washington to carry out important reconnaissance missions. The Civil War. Never surrender. During the Civil War, the Confederate Army possessed the most famous Ranger unit of the Civil War. This group of Confederate Rangers were known as Mosby's Rangers, after Confederate Commander John S. Mosby. This unit was well known in the Union ranks and caused difficulties for the Union Army all throughout the war. They specialized in raiding supply trains and disrupting communications. They also were responsible for a number of deep infiltration missions that resulted in the capture of high-ranking Union officers. Mosby's Rangers never formally surrendered, but rather were disbanded by Mosby. This is where the slogan, "Never Surrender," comes from that is still used by modern Ranger units. World War II. Rangers lead the way. World War II brought on an expanded role for the Rangers. In May 1942, the 1st Ranger Battalion was created. They were entirely made up of volunteer soldiers. Shortly after the 1st was formed, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th Ranger Battalions were also created. The most famous contribution of the Rangers in World War II was by the 2nd Battalion, who scaled the 150-foot cliffs of Point du Hoc during the Normandy invasion. They did this while under heavy fire and extreme physical distress. After scaling the cliff, the Rangers eliminated a large artillery battery, saving countless hundreds of American lives. This was key to American forces finally breaking free of the German defenses on Omaha Beach. Because of their actions at Point du Hoc, the Rangers gave birth to another important motto that is still used today. Rangers lead the way. The Korean and Vietnam Wars. Identity development. During the Korean and Vietnam Wars, the Rangers saw continued expansion of their ranks and began to form into what modern-day Rangers have become. The Korean War saw the Rangers become more specialized at infiltration behind enemy lines. All throughout the Korean War, the Rangers would scout, probe, infiltrate, and destroy enemy leadership networks. The Rangers did more of the same during the Vietnam War. Another expansion of the Rangers' role during the Vietnam War was assessing terrain and assessing tactical opportunities for larger missions. The Rangers also began to consistently run rescue operations for prisoners of war. Modern Rangers, elite of the elite. The modern Rangers are a combination of all of the historic Ranger units to date, making the Rangers highly specialized and one of the most advanced and versatile ground force units in modern-day militaries. The Rangers are an exclusive unit with an extremely high standard for qualification. Modern Rangers must pass a 62-day Ranger school in order to call themselves Rangers. This school includes a mountain phase, a swamp phase, and a woods phase. These are all of the most common types of terrain Rangers operate in. They are expected to complete complex military operations while under extreme physical and mental stress. In Ranger School, candidates get an average of 3 hours of sleep each day and very little to eat. Only 1 in 3 who begin Ranger School successfully graduate. The high standard of modern Ranger School ensures that Rangers will continue to be the elite of the elite, capable of completing any mission anywhere. This is the standard their forefathers have laid down. The modern Ranger is up to the task of continuing the Ranger standard.